Blog Talk Radio.
Archangels, ghosts, and Bigfoot, oh my. It's just another night for Supernatural Girls. Real stories, real answers to life's biggest supernatural mysteries. And now, for another exciting interview with paranormal experts from this world and others. Here's your host, paranormal researcher Patricia Baker, on the one, the only, Supernatural Girls.
Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Supernatural Girls Radio. I'm your host, Patricia Baker, and I'm here with my co-host, PK. How are you doing tonight?
A little chilly. I'm not used to that. I want our sunshine back.
Uh-oh. What's the temperature? Yeah.
Well, I don't know what it is, but for me it feels like it's zero, and I know it isn't. I'm sure it's in the low 70s or high 60s, but we're just not used to that change.
No, you're not. Oh, how funny. We had snow last night.
That's incredible.
It's gone now.
Those kind of things thank goodness is right. I like to see it come and go very quickly.
Oh, yeah. That's the best. Yeah, it went today. It was warming up. So, but, yeah, last night it was a bit of a shocker. So, anyways, but do tell. Now, we've got an incredible guest tonight. We had so much fun.
Yes, we do.
With Dr. Beitman when he was on the show with us before, talking about his new book, Meaningful Coincidences, How and Why Synchronicity and Serendipity Happen. And we didn't get to go through how this is related to the paranormal. So we had to have Dr. Beitman come back, and he's here with us tonight. We're so excited to have him back. But before we bring him on, let me check with you on the numbers. What's happening? We're in November. Thanksgiving is what, next week already? Oh, my gosh.
Yes, it is. This month is all about our finances and putting things in order. And let me tell you, the rate things are going, our finances are going ka-ching and down because everything costs so much more. People are wondering, when is it going to stop? When is it going to stop? Not for quite a while yet. So do the best you can. Try to take care of some of the little things that we get where we can save a penny here or there. Everything's out of sight. Eggs are almost 50% more than they were last year. So, I mean, nothing is normal. Or whatever normal is supposed to be. We're not
reasonable. Yeah. No reasonable prices.
That's terrible. But so everything this month, you can figure it's going to cost more than anticipated. And if you can put a little bit aside, by all means do so. Because, of course, next month is going to be Katie barred the door with the holidays. Even more so with Christmas.
That's right. Oh, my goodness. Well, we're going to be very cautious with spending and try to look for those bargains if there are any out there.
Definitely.
I know here we like to support our small farms that sell their own eggs and things like that. So eggs in the store here are about $8. Yeah. $8 in the store, $3. Yeah, $3 at the local farm. So everybody check out your local farms. They're great to support. And they're paying for all of their own chicken feed, turkey feed, which is sky high, but they're keeping their prices low, and the eggs are super fresh. And when I cracked open an egg tonight for dinner, that yolk was orange. It was fresh, just right today. I mean, you get them from the store; they're pale yellow, which tells you that they're not that fresh. So
definitely,
yeah. So take a look at your local farms, everybody.
Yeah, there's a few different places that they're running specials. They're running a special on one or two items to get you in, and everything else seems to be jacked up. You notice how much smaller the boxes are and how much smaller the cans are? And they think that we're silly and we don't understand that they're shortchanging us. We're paying more and getting less. Ridiculous.
It is. It's not a good thing. So thank you for the warning on all of this. And oh my goodness. And I also wanted to give people a heads up on property taxes, because we're coming into
right.
next month, and they are going to, at least in Massachusetts and many other states, they set your property value by the end of this year. So by November, December, you're going to have a good inclination about the amount they are going to tax you on. So it's your home's value. They're going to be taking a look at that. And from what I'm hearing, there's a lot of pressure on the assessors to increase that value. So a heads up and a warning. It is totally up to you to spot any mistakes on your property record card or any discrepancies in how you're being assessed. I mean, we had a woman here a number of years ago, and she was being taxed on a very large barn. But guess what? She didn't have a large barn. She didn't have a barn on her property. But they had been taxing her on it. But she never looked at her property record card, so she did not realize that they were taxing her a hefty amount. She ended up paying about $5,000 in taxes on that barn that she didn't have, and she could not get the money back. You see, once the year has passed and you haven't filed appropriately with an abatement and all of that, you're done. And so she was so upset, but she's like, this is information everybody needs to have. Because if you don't know this, again, you're being taxed at a high rate, most likely, and you're being you may have mistakes, let me put it that way, on your property record card. But it's up to you. It's up to you to look at that property record card. The record cards are free from your local assessors. You can get a copy. You can get a copy of your cost value sheet, which breaks it down even further. And then you can have a meeting if you find some things that aren't right and see if they will make an adjustment. If they don't, then there is recourse in court, which is not inexpensive. And sometimes, if you're really smart, you can do it yourself. But hopefully you can catch it and fix it at the local level. But everybody needs to pay attention to this, and especially the elderly who are on a fixed income. So there is a book that my dear friend, attorney Patricia Quintillion, wrote, and I suggest you get it. It's called Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. This is written mainly for Massachusetts residents, and it is written a number of years ago, but it is still valid and appropriate, and she lists a number of websites you can visit. So it's a great resource. You can even get it, I'm sure, at your local library. You can request a copy if you don't want to pay for it, but other than that, it is available on Amazon. And for any property owner, I recommend you get it. It has a whole chapter on horror stories, and that's very entertaining as long as it's not you. And it has all of the rules and regulations. Yeah. So there are very strict deadlines that have to be adhered to if you are the property owner. So it spells it out very clearly. And it is a really good book to have in your library, and also to give as a gift to anybody you know who owns property who thinks they're not getting a fair shake. So that's my piece and my advice for tonight. So again, the book is Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. So I have never seen so many Bigfoot videos as I have in the last few weeks. I don't know what's going on, but a lot of people are posting their videos, their trail cam videos, and they're quite remarkable. So something's happening where either people feel more comfortable to share or they're actually having more sightings. And also I wanted to let everybody know that David Paulides has a new movie coming out today, and it is Missing 411, The UFO Connection. And in it, he interviews one of our dear guests, Carl Higdon, who passed away earlier this year. So anyways, take a look at that movie. I believe it's available on Amazon for rent, and we wish him the best with that endeavor. All of his work with these missing people has been just stellar, and we hope to someday have some answers. But for now, that movie just came out today. Take a look at it. So, back to our fabulous guest. We have Dr. Bernard Beitman, and he has taken us already on a journey through the inner workings of serendipity, coincidence, and synchronicity, and we're going to go further tonight. So if you want more grace in your life, if you want to hear how this is all a big doorway to the paranormal, you're in the right place. So Dr. Beitman is the first psychiatrist since Carl Jung to systematize the study of coincidences. He is a graduate of Yale Medical School. He did his psychiatric residency at Stanford University. He's the former chair of psychiatry of the University of Missouri-Columbia Medical School for 17 years. He writes a blog for Psychology Today on coincidence and is the co-author of the award-winning book, Learning Psychotherapy. He's also the founder of the Coincidence Project. He lives in Charlottesville, Virginia, and you can go to his website, which is I think it's coincider.com. Yes, that's what it says.
Right.
And again, is that right, Dr. Beitman? And the name of the book, I got it, is Meaningful Coincidences, How and Why Synchronicity and Serendipity Happen. It is a terrific book. We're just thrilled to have you back. Welcome, Dr. Beitman.
Thank you very much, you supernatural girls, you. Glad to be back.
Well, we're so thrilled to have you back. Yes, we had so much fun with you. It was wonderful last time. So thank you.
You're welcome. So let's open a door to the paranormal here for a little bit, because, as you said, we were just standing outside the last time. So let's walk through. But before we walk through, for those who may not have been with us before or want to be reminded, a few definitions. Yeah, I study coincidence, and my publicist calls me the king of coincidence, which is kind of fun. It's kind of fun. It's like, okay, kings only last for a while, so it's got a shelf life. So I don't, and this book is like a stand that says I know coincidences pretty well because I've studied them a lot over my life, really, and try to make some coherence out of them. A lot of people have them, don't know what to make out of them. You read my book, you're going to get some organizing principles about how to think about them, because what I'm trying to do is create a science of meaningful coincidences. And the first thing you have to do with a science usually is describe what you're trying to study. So you can have theories and you can do research. So this is a preliminary attempt to define the area called meaningful coincidences. And some people don't know why I say meaningful coincidence, and the reason I do that is because there are two major forms, synchronicity and serendipity. And they have overlapping meanings, and they have somewhat different meanings. And so I want to go through the definitions of a meaningful coincidence and a definition of synchronicity and serendipity, and a couple of other words that begin with S and end with ITY. So there's four words, S with it beginning and ITY at the end, that have to do with the basic ideas around meaningful coincidences. So first, what's a meaningful coincidence? Thanks. What's a meaningful coincidence? It's the coming together of two or more events in a surprising, unexpected, and improbable way that seems to have significance to the person experiencing it, either at the moment or in retrospect, looking back, and may seem to have a possible explanation. It's important to see in that definition that once you have an explanation, it's no longer a coincidence because you know how it happened. A coincidence is a question mark about how it happened. And if we know how it happened, then there's no coincidence, which is why you hear people saying, there are no coincidences.
Yeah, we hear that.
Mm-hmm. You hear that. And what do they mean when they say, it sounds like they know what they're talking about when they say that. I mean, even now, they do sound like that, don't they?
Yeah.
I know. There are no coincidences.
Right. And what's the truth of all of that?
The truth is that the way they come up with that statement for them is true, because if you know the cause or explanation of a coincidence, then it's no longer a coincidence. And the two major explanations that people embrace are God or universe, God universe as one, and the other is random chance. Those are the two. Probability, chance, random. And so if you know, and I know some people, especially one psychiatrist named Ralph knows that all coincidences are all caused by randomness. They're all explained by randomness. He has a diatribe. He has an article in Psychology Today in which he says the universe is random. Get used to it, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, you can make meaning if you want to, but that's because you want to. There's no meaning out there. And that's what Jung was fighting with synchronicity. He was trying to say there's meaning out there. It's not just random out there, but those who think that it's just random know there are no coincidences because they have a totally 100% explanation for them, as Ralph does. So Ralph knows there are no coincidences. On the other hand, there are those who say God, universe, fate make coincidences happen. A favorite line from some people is like, from Albert Einstein, is like coincidences are God's way of remaining anonymous.
That's a good one.
Yes, it is.
Well, if you look at that sentence, God's way of remaining anonymous, if that's true, then God is no longer anonymous because he's there. He or she created the coincidence. So it's not anonymous anymore. It's a signature.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a good way of putting it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's there. But aside from that play around with the words, those who know that it's some kind of higher intelligence that is creating coincidences, they also say there are no coincidences. So when you hear people say that, you don't know which explanation they're going on.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Now I'm going to ask you and our audience to answer me this question. They can't respond back, but maybe you can. If each of them are certain, like my friend Ralph, another psychiatrist, Ralph, how can you think like this, Ralph? Well, okay. So that's the way Ralph thinks. I've interviewed him a couple of times on my podcast, and I know he knows that's what's true. And other people know that it's God doing it. Those are the two. So how can they both be right?
That's a good question.
Does make you stop and think, for sure.
Yeah. So what's your response to that?
Is to ask that question. They
you just
both
like asking
can't
other people.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I ask other people because
yeah.
they both can't be right.
Right. It's one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I like the anonymous. I like the anonymous signature of God. I like the feel of that, and it's just there's something about it that feels expansive and true to me. That's just me.
Yeah, and that's why it's so popular.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
makes sense.
I'm this guy that looks at the words and say, if I'm signing my name, then that says that I'm here. So I'm no longer I'm no longer a mystery. I've just showed up.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we can get into that. You like it, and I can see why you do. Now that I've gone into this a little bit more, but let's get away from this. That if you have an explanation, there's no coincidence. And I'm into saying that a lot of coincidences are created by us to some degree or other. We have a limited amount of free will. There is mystery out there, and God and the universe and fate are part of explanations, and so is probability. Each coincidence has a probability of happening. So there's three different answers, generally speaking. So that's coincidences themselves. So let's go on to the other four, and then we're going to open the door to the paranormal. And we're going to open it through through these four different forms of meaningful coincidences. The most popular one in the United States and in Canada, I think, is synchronicity. Across the Atlantic, they like serendipity more. This, it's a kind of like, I'm trying to bring them two together. Just imagine me with my arms stretched across the Atlantic, trying to connect Europe with the United States here. But that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. I went to the first meeting of the Serendipity Society in 2019, and it was like in London, and they tolerated me. I was the last speaker at the last day, and they cut me short. So,
how dare they?
Well, it was important for me to meet those people. I politically, organizationally, we're establishing a connection across the Atlantic, but that's another question. Synchronicity was a word invented by Carl Jung, and it was not meaningful coincidence. It was an explanation for meaningful coincidence. And most people don't care about that now. They use the word synchronicity for meaningful coincidence. But Jung had a separate meaning, which was an acausal connecting principle, meaning that synchronicity was a different form of how things happened. So meaning brought two things that seemed not related together, and that was acausal connecting principle. And usually synchronicity is about interpersonal, psychological, and spiritual things. Jung was a psychotherapist, psychiatrist, and pretty mystical. So that's what synchronicity generally is about. But serendipity is about happy accidents, finding something useful in an unexpected way, or finding something useful that you weren't even looking for. You're looking for it, you found it in a funny way, or you weren't even looking for it, and there it shows up. And those are more about like jobs and scientific discoveries, as well as some artistic things. So serendipity is more about things out there in the world rather than interpersonal or spiritual. Right. Well, then there's seriality, which is a series of things that anybody can look at and see, like 4 words for meaningful coincidences: synchronicity, serendipity, seriality. They all begin in S and end in ITY. And seriality is like seeing 1,000 monkeys, one after the other, over 10 years, which a colleague of mine does. In not real-life monkeys necessarily, but movies and on backpacks and bookcases and in cartoons and all kinds of places. This woman sees monkeys. They monkey around with her, as she likes to say. Then
it fits. Crazy.
Monkey magic. And then there's simulpathity. Simulpathity is the experiencing the pain of a loved one at a distance. Jung for example, was in a hotel room giving a talk someplace outside of Zurich where he lived, and he felt a pain on his forehead and a very big pain in the back of his head. It's about 2 a.m. And then the next morning, he got a telegram that one of his patients had shot himself in the head through the forehead, and the bullet ended up in the back of his skull.
Wow.
There's a lot of stories like that. This is where we walk into the paranormal. This is where our discussion. That's our doorway today into the paranormal. And what I'm going to try to get to with your help is a model for how to explain telepathy. We've had a lot of trouble trying to explain telepathy, have a theory for it. And without a theory, science doesn't like to pay much attention. But I have at least a model, a picture for how telepathy might work and how that might have worked with Jung and a lot of other things. But first, let's walk through the door and meet that weird bunch of human beings called identical twins.
Oh, okay. I like that. I like identicals. Tell us about that. Yes, let's go into that. They are genetically very similar, not the same. Even if they have the same DNA, they are in different positions in the uterus, and one comes out before the other, but mostly they're pretty much the same body. And because of the similarity between the two of them, and that because they share the same primary life experiences, that makes them more likely to feel the pain or understand the mind of their twin. A British writer, Guy Playfair, looked at the research conducted on twin telepathy. And it's important to keep in mind that if twins do it, so do the rest of us, perhaps not as frequently. So the research came up with twins saying that they know when one twin is about to telephone the other. They often say the same thing at the same time. That knowing when somebody else is calling is something that non-twins also do. I mean, each of the things I'm going to tell you are non-twins do. And I suppose you have that happen. You know who's calling, don't you? Oh, sure.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes we do, for sure.
Sometimes, yeah. None of this is all the time.
No.
None of it. If it's all the time, who knows what the world would be like? It would be like all one mind, and then one mind. I don't know. We'll get to one mind because that's an important idea in paranormal thinking. Twins sometimes sing the same song the other one was just thinking about. They just know when the other one is in trouble. How do you know? I feel uneasy. I was overcome with misery. Sometimes they share the same dream. Sometimes they share the same pain or injury. And I'm going to tell you one of the stories about sharing the same injury that is still remarkable, and it's pretty well documented. A 6-year-old girl had a black eye and was assuring her mother that she had not had an accident and felt no pain. Around the same time, her twin sister, who was a couple of miles away, had been involved in a playground accident that had left her with an even blacker eye, and the same one, and considerable pain. I would call that paranormal, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. I mean, to have it show up in the twins' actual physical body that way when she hadn't experienced the injury is remarkable.
It's remarkable. And they filmed it somehow they got film of that around the time and later, and they showed it on television. So this is a concrete example of twins connected in a very physical way. A lot of people don't want to hear stories like this, as you know, because it shakes up their view of reality. They can't explain it, and it's scary. It's frightening. And I'm trying to use coincidences. Go ahead.
They can't control it, and it's something that's out of their control. They don't understand it, as you mentioned. That's all a part of it. And here's an example of something that not only was an effect of understanding through telepathy or an experience through telepathy, but it actually had a physical effect. It changed tissue in this child's body and created a black eye. So, yeah, I mean, the people that we talk to that are uncomfortable with this, they tend to want to control their reality, and they don't like anything that appears to them to be out of their control. And this would be out of their control. So, yeah, it would be disturbing to them. We think it's fascinating, but there are others who would find it disturbing. I think it's great. It shows how connected potentially we all are, but certainly these twins had an incredible level of connection with each other.
Incredible.
Sometimes when a person calls the other person just as they're about to call them, no reason for it, but
right.
It's a joint venture taking place.
Yeah. Yeah. I was recovering from a cold yesterday, so I was taking it easy, and then today around 2:00 I remembered that I was supposed to see a patient on Zoom yesterday around 2:15 or so, and I forgot about it. So I texted her and said, "Sorry, I forgot about it." And she said, "Oh, I forgot about it too, and I just remembered that we were supposed to meet tomorrow." So around the same time I thought of it, she thought of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's always surprising when that happens.
Yeah, that's another one that's pretty significant, because this is not a relative of yours. So there's some frequency connection between the two of you, where you both hopped onto the same vibration and got the same message.
Right. Right. And I'm trying to explain the details of that vibration.
That's no easy task. I'm waiting to hear.
I was thinking the same thing. How is he going to do that?
See, we're on the same frequency.
Is that true?
Well, boys and girls, hold on to your seats, because we're going to take the rocket ship to who knows where. But before we get that, a message from our sponsor, which is another story, and I'll get to that as soon as when you two start saying you had enough of my telling you some of these stories, I'll get to that explanation. So if you just tell me when you're ready.
Oh no, we love the stories. I mean, I think everybody loves these stories because it really illustrates so very well, that we are having another experience. It's not talked about quite enough. So please continue to share the stories. They're wonderful.
I will. I thank you for your encouragement. I do appreciate your recognizing the difference between the twins and my patient. But in both instances, there's some kind of connection between the two people involved. That connection is so important. So let's do another story that's not so less pretty. It's kind of ugly, actually. There were two twins named Romulus and Remus. Remus became so angry at his wife that he tried to strangle her, yuck, but ended up stabbing her to death. At almost the same time, his brother Romulus was out with his girlfriend, with whom he apparently had a calmer relationship. Romulus suddenly felt compelled by some unknown force to strangle her to death.
Oh my goodness.
Yes,
wow.
That's what I think. You begin to wonder, is it one mind that we're talking about here? Two aspects of the same mind? I'm not going to suggest that quite, but something close to that is what I'm going to suggest.
Yeah, that could be of one mind, but it does seem like either one mind or one frequency can overtake another, and that's the story you just shared. So this person wasn't apparently normally violent, who knows, but all of a sudden acted out in a way that was horrible and was murder. But again, why? So that's the question I have, is why did that happen? Was one frequency just so overwhelming and it kicked off something in the other one?
Well, I think that's almost measurable. But I'm glad to hear how you think about it, because it's helpful to keep talking about how this might be happening. So let's do a more pleasant story that's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to see this one how it happened too, but it's the same idea really. Squire Rushnell has written a lot of stories, coincidence stories, in small books. He calls coincidences God winks. So he's very much into saying God creates these coincidences. He's going to be on my podcast in February, and I'm really glad to be talking with him because he has some great stories, Squire Rushnell. And one of them involves Christopher and Marion. Well, each one was reeling from divorce. And they'd gone through the divorce around the same time, and they found each other, and they felt good with each other. But the fear of intimacy kept them wavering about whether to commit to the other one. And they lived 2,000 miles apart, not a big help.
No.
Yet they knew that marriage looked like an increasingly likely possibility. So one day, Christopher stood like he was in a trance in front of his bookshelf. He picked up a book called The Nature of Love and randomly turned to a page discussing the writings of Khalil Gibran. He read, "Give your hearts, but not into each other's keeping, for only the hand of life can contain your hearts."
Beautiful.
He called Marion and read the lines to her. She paused and told him, "I am, right now, holding the same book in my lap, The Nature of Love.
Goodness.
And the only part of the book I have read is the part you have just read to me."
Gosh. So did they get married?
And are they happy?
Well, I don't.
Right.
The funny thing about that is during the marriage ceremony, the minister picked the same phrase to use as part of the marriage ceremony without ever asking either of them. I like that.
Great.
That's fabulous.
Oh, yeah. That's a nice one.
What?
One heart, one mind.
And yes, and keep talking, you supernatural girls. You're romantics, I can tell. So what do you think happened there?
What? Do tell.
Well, you tell me. I mean, you.
Well, they got married, obviously.
Yeah, but was
there a happily ever after?
We don't know that. The minister came up with the same phrase. That's what was so cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what I said. Just saying, one heart, one mind. Even that it involved the minister as well. I mean, that's again the power of that connection they had, that also sent out a frequency to him. So, yeah, involving him, bringing him into their circle. That's a beautiful story, beautiful experience.
Yes. Yes.
See, I see a lot of this a little differently, and because of, frequency and the way frequency operates that we really still don't understand. I know you're working with developing theory for all of this, and I see it as frequency to frequency, and some people have an amazing ability to get on other people's frequencies and either influence them or share with them certain things. And I've seen this firsthand. I'm sure you have too. So I tend to see it that way, that it's kind of like dialing in a radio station, and when you get to that right frequency and the other is on that frequency, that connection is instant.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm with you on that radio station thing very, very much. It was my first way of thinking about this stuff a long time ago. That we are radios. We are like radios. We are like radios. We broadcast and we receive.
Yeah, and then see, I have an experience. I'll just share this very quickly with a woman by the name of Marianne Shenefield. She's got a very interesting story that I'm writing about with the late Betty Andreasen. Did a manuscript that I'm editing and adding my own experience with Marianne. But she had an ability. She was physically blind, but she had an ability to get on your frequency. So, for example, I knew her quite well, and I would be sitting in my office seeing clients, and all of a sudden I'd smell cigarette smoke. And I didn't smoke. My client didn't smoke. No smoking was allowed in my office. I'm like, where's that smoke coming from? I'd look outside. Nobody's there. And then suddenly it would dawn on me, it's Marianne. Marianne was a chain smoker. So I called her up. I'm like, what are you doing? Are you on my frequency? She's like, oh, I'm really sorry. I can't stop smoking. I'm smoking like a fiend. And I'm like, yeah, we're both smelling it in my office right now. So knock it off. But she had this incredible ability to just jump on somebody's frequency, and before you knew it, you were having the cravings she was having. You would be wanting the food she was wanting to eat. I mean, it was just a phenomenal experience. And she also had the ability to look into people's bodies and see what was going on with them and be able to diagnose it better than any doctor. So that ability to get into somebody's energy field, to jump onto their frequency, I've never seen anybody do anything like it ever, consistently. I mean, that's the difference. This wasn't a one-time thing. This was an everyday thing. So she described it that way. She said, I just can get on frequencies, and I can see where she wanted to. She could influence people as well if their frequency was on the weaker side. So anyways, that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
That way you can. And that's
a good one.
I appreciate hearing your story and other stories because I know my stories. I don't hear your stories. So that is one that is a little different from what I have had experience with or read about. Here's a woman that can alter her frequency enough to match the frequency of another person.
Exactly.
That is pretty good, especially at a distance. To do it in person, I'm always and tell me what you think about this, because I know I can do telepathy with patients and maybe somebody else that I know very well. I can tell what the person might be thinking when the person's in the room, or I can feel what the person is feeling when the person's in the room. But feeling what the person is feeling when the person is someplace else, which is what she can do, is to me somewhat different than doing it in the room. What do you think of that?
Absolutely true. Yeah, it is quite different.
Right.
Yeah, it speaks to a whole other level of connection.
Is frequency still involved there, do you think?
Yes,
in the
I think so.
I would think so also.
Yeah, because, with people like that, too, they don't experience time and space the same way. So it doesn't really matter to them if you're, it's whether you're in the room or you're, you're in Connecticut and she's in Massachusetts, it didn't matter. She was able to do what she did no matter what. No matter what the physical circumstances were.
Yeah. That is the best explanation I've run across so far, as simple as it sounds. It's not easy to understand, but experience time and space differently.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can go to temporarily experience time and space differently. All of us have that ability to feel the pain of a loved one at a distance, as Jung did.
Definitely.
Yes.
And in those moments, then maybe we're more like a person you just told us about. The time and space become something other than the way we think about it now. Yeah, I mean, we're told
it's almost irrelevant. It's almost irrelevant. It's interesting, but it doesn't have the same relevancy.
I think I see what you mean. I think I see what you mean.
You have a get-together of friends, and they're out shopping, shall we say, for a Christmas gift or a birthday gift. They're not together, and yet two of them can come up with the identical gift and the identical color. That they didn't shop together, but it's for the same person. So and it was something that individual wanted and made it known, but neither knew that the other was going to respond and take care of the purchase.
Did both of them know that's what the recipient wanted?
Through conversations that had been brought up at different times, but nothing was said, I'm going to get that for her, or what are you going to get for her? They didn't discuss it after something had been said actually a month or so before. And the day of the event, both of them with the identical outfit and the identical color.
Well, I just heard one about two sisters and different sides of the United States, different coasts, each buying the same present for the other one.
Amazing, isn't it?
It is. I love it.
Well, what does it make us think about hearing stories like this? I'm beginning to see the value, not just of me telling stories, but of us exchanging stories with each other. Because my stories make you think, and your stories make me think.
Yeah, I think it's very helpful, to do all this story sharing, and it's because it keeps broadening our experiences and the possibilities. So we're seeing new possibilities
doors as well.
Your stories.
Yeah,
it really does open doors. Exactly that.
And I'm hearing new ideas listening to each of you as well. So let's just keep this dance going then. Let's just keep it going.
We are in the paranormal now.
That's right. Is it going to be the foxtrot or the waltz?
Yeah, right.
There's let's try one that's a little different context, like a classroom and a teacher, where it's not so evident there's a direct connection between two people. This one was told to me by Marcus Anthony, who teaches in China, Hong Kong, and other East Asian locations. He also was on one of my podcasts, and he told me about assigning his class of 14-year-old boys to write the first line of a mystery story. Okay. That night, Anthony had a dream. Anthony's the teacher, that the police were on the lookout for Jack the Ripper. And for those of you who don't know who Jack the Ripper is, some of you may not know, he was a notorious murderer in London, I think in the 1800s.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the mood of the dream was dark and somber, of course. He woke with the feeling of it fresh in his mind. Jack the Ripper. On the road to school, his car pulled behind another vehicle, a truck with a sticker on the back that read, "Jack is back."
Oh my goodness.
That's spooky.
Yeah.
I think it was an ad for Jack Daniels, but I'm not sure. Jack is back. So he sees Jack is back in the truck in front of him. So in class, and this is a key part of what I want to hear how you think about it. In class, he looked around to sense where the energy was. That's such a key line, where the energy was. His intuition confidently designated James as the place to start. So he called on James. And James began to tell the story of a woman who had been brutally murdered.
Oh, my.
The police went The police went on a hunt for the man responsible. They found him and tried to arrest him, but he fought back. The policeman fired. The man fell to the ground screaming as he fell, silent, and death took over him. A dark and horrible shadow rose out of the dead man's body. It was the spirit of Jack the Ripper.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my God.
This is the story that this kid came up with in class.
That's an incredible story, given what the teacher was dreaming about.
Yeah, direct connection.
Very much so.
How do you supernatural girls with a Z think about that one?
Well, again,
be a little leery of that.
Go ahead. Yeah, that I would just say that again, there is some frequency that is connecting the two of them. Could be in the dream world, that happens, because teachers are always, a good teacher is thinking about their class, their children that they're responsible for, trying to get them to a more creative space. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was that type of frequency connection between the two, and that it may have more weight from the dreaming reality. So, I mean, there's, again, how many people have had prophetic dreams and things like that. Carlos Castaneda was involved in a dream study in California, where they had, I believe it was 16 participants. Are you aware of this one?
No.
Dr. Beitman? That's a good one. And he, so anyways, Carlos Castaneda from the books that were so famous years ago. And they had these 16 participants, and the doctors told these people, look, we want you to keep track of your dreams, keep a dream journal. And if anything unusual happens, we want you to call the Institute in the morning. So they're like, sure, no problem. One morning, all 16 of them called up and said, last night, Carlos Castaneda walked into my dream and said, hi, I'm Carlos Castaneda. Be sure to call the Institute in the morning.
Oh, my God.
Now, I heard about this from a psychiatrist, Sue Twemlow, who knew of the study, knew the people involved, and he was the one who shared it with me, and I was amazed. I mean, that again, with somebody as talented as Castaneda was, and he studied the gift of dreaming, he really did know how to walk into people's dreams and do something like this, and to have all 16 of them remember it so clearly that they would call up in the morning. So there's a power that happens, and there's a connection that happens in the dream world where there aren't the same kinds of boundaries. And again, time and space takes on a very different shape there.
Amazing.
So I don't know. I don't have the right answer for your question, but that I'm just speculating out loud here how this could be connected.
That's really what I'm asking you to do, so I appreciate it. I do. So what I do with coincidences like this, they're pretty astounding, is, yes, try to speculate about how they happen, which is what we were just doing. But I also like to ask and find out what it meant personally to the person, what coincidence means to them about their lives now and in the past and for the future. So what Marcus said was that synchronicity invited me to face the part of me that I had been deeply hurt by certain female figures from my childhood. I came to see, yes, so he came to see his rage at women who had, he says, emasculated him. These are the women who raised him. And that experience, he said, had left me with a deep-seated lust for revenge that I had not been fully acknowledging.
That's a great personal revelation.
It was.
Yeah.
That 14-year-old helped him psychotherapeutically.
He sure did. Brought it right out.
Helped him psychologically. It's a two-way street. The teacher helps the kids, and the kids help the teacher. Or can do that.
Yep. Yeah, that's incredible. Now, are you also aware of the studies that took place with, children and their parents? And their parents were having some difficulties, and they had these couples that they were working with, and they had the parents keep track of their dreams, and then they would have the children go into playtime. And if the parents dreamt of a car accident, the children would play car accident. I mean, they were acting out the dreams that their parents had been having. It was a remarkable study. I mean, but again, that's why when I think about dreams, I think about something not without boundaries, but with very much reduced boundaries. And certainly that connection between parent and child. I mean, for them to be playing the events that the parents were having, were experiencing in the dream world, that's another thing that's quite high on the coincidence list for being meaningful.
Yeah, and what I would ask was, what did it mean to particularly the parents that the children were doing that?
Yeah, I don't recall how the researcher addressed it. This is so many years ago, but I do know that it shocked everybody that this was happening.
Well, I still am a psychotherapist, and I'm very interested in how coincidences synchronicity help us with psychological and interpersonal and spiritual development. I ask, what does it mean to you, as well as how to explain it? And if you were the parent in that, and you had a dream like that, a dream about the car accident and the children do the car accident in play, what would that mean to you possibly?
Well, I think the first thing I'd look at is the car accident, which usually is something that seems like it's out of your control and it creates a traumatic situation. So I would look at that piece and go, okay, where is this happening in my life that I'm feeling I'm out of control? And these traumatic things are happening as a result of that. So that's how I would see it, just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Putting together the thoughts of what created the series of events that took place just before or right after that situation taking place, I think that would be worthwhile knowing what had happened the day before, or shall we say the evening before, to see how these parallel one another.
That's a good idea.
And more information like that is very useful. We only have this information at this time, so those are good questions to ask. On what you've just told us, I'm just laughing about my own children now that I'm thinking about them and the problems I was having with my wife, that it's all one mind in that family, and the kids are picking it up. So the car accident could be the relationship between the parents.
Could be, yes.
Could very well be, definitely.
Yes.
At least what the parents are thinking is influencing the children much more than they think.
That's it right there. I mean, that level of influence.
Just going to say.
Yep. So that's a good one.
Yeah, I like that.
A shocking one.
They're like jokes, really, these things. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Can also mean surprising and yuck, boy, that's what I mean. The coincidences get emotional reactions out of you. That's the whole thing. Some of them are just funny. Sometimes I have coincidence and I say, "Are you kidding me? You're messing with me again, aren't you?"
Right. Right, exactly. But don't you find that it gets people's attention? Maybe that's part of its purpose.
It certainly is as part of its purpose. But some people's attention is very hard to get.
Yes, that's true.
Very true.
That's why I'm doing it. I'm getting out there trying to get their attention by telling these stories and being a psychiatrist and going to Yale and Stanford and stuff like that. I mean, it's like, hey, look, I'm well educated. I know this stuff happens. Pay attention to it. I mean, that's my game on this one. Pay attention to them. There's something to this. Let's look at them together.
Yeah, and it's wonderful the way you bring it inward so that people can take this and look inside and go, what does this mean about my life right now, or me, or my past, or whatever. So it's a useful piece of information for people who are introspective and are on a path where they really want to know themselves. So it's wonderful information.
Yeah, I call it psychotherapy by synchronicity.
Oh, wow. You should charge more for that. Because it makes it sound like a lot more fun.
There's a certain rhyme to psychotherapy by synchronicity. So there's two sides in there again. It's like I was talking to somebody on another show, and she says, "Tell me what is psi?" And I go, "That's a psi." That's
right.
a psi. And got into what psi was. So let's do Bernie's little drawing of it. Bernie, go up to the board and show us how coincidences happen. Okay, I mean how telepathy happens. Hey, Bernie, you in the back, you say you can do this, so come up and show the supernatural girls with a Z and their audience your idea on how telepathy works. Okay, how about that? No, I'm too shy.
We want to know.
Okay, I'll
Please do it. Okay,
I always wanted to be a rock star, so okay, I'll go up there. Okay. So in one of the latter chapters of my book, it's called 6 Puzzling Cases, and these are cases that it was hard to really come up with an explanation, except the Radiolab guys on NPR like to do probability or randomness, and other people say God, and I say what? Say what? Okay, so I'm going to use this story, and you got to think along with me visually to get some idea of where I'm going with it, to try to explain frequency. What you're talking about is frequency, because frequency is, you are implying energy transmission through some medium. There's some.
Yes.
It could be time spaces collapsing, but there's still some kind of energy and information being transmitted. I think that's what you mean by frequency. Is that right?
Yes.
So the phrase energy information is most important here, because light and sound carry information on energy at a certain frequency. Now, there's 10 hertz, there's 500 hertz, there's like all kinds of hertz that make you feel hurt. I mean, that hertz thing really gets me, and it's not a rental car company. It's something that it hurts. Hertz is a measure of frequency, ladies and gentlemen, in case you didn't get to that. And one of the, I got off on this. I'm going to go on this one. I'll do this because it's one of my favorites. As above, so below. You know that one? I'm sure you do. So there's something called the ionosphere, which is something like 6 miles to 20 miles up or something like that. And it's made up of a lot of ions, positive and negatively charged particles. So between the ionosphere, which moves with light and dark and heat of the day and night, up and down, between the bottom of the ionosphere and the Earth's surface is a cavity or a cavern. In that cavern is like lightning striking, lightning goes. There's a lot of lightning strikes that we don't see, and it's a lot of them per minute around the world. And this lightning creates a resonance at a certain frequency called the Schumann resonance. And this resonance goes from about 7.8 hertz. It's really probably higher than that now, maybe 8.2, to about 50 or 60 hertz. And it has various gradations like harmonics between the 8 and the 50 or 60. Well, it turns out that our human brains also are operating at the same range of hertz, from about 4 hertz to about 50 or 60 hertz. So our brains and the Schumann resonance are about the same frequency at the same range. So what a coincidence, ladies and gentlemen. How did that happen? Well, in the Schumann resonance cavity, I suggest there's something called the psychosphere, or our mental atmosphere. That when we talk about one mind, we talk about our minds connected, that our minds are connected through this mental atmosphere, which is filled with energy and information. And that what do you think of that so far?
Yeah, it sounds very interesting. Yeah, why wouldn't there be an atmosphere for that? That sounds like it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, well, that's an important idea, because it's not so mystical as some quantum ideas can be, where are really hard to understand, or it's all one. It's really saying there's a mind surrounding the earth, and not only our minds are part of it, but also the minds of a lot of the creatures, maybe all the creatures around us, animals and plants. And each of us is giving out energy information into the psychosphere and taking energy and information from the psychosphere. So there's a dynamic interchange between individuals and the psychosphere. That is as far as I'm going on that one right now, and then I'm going to tell my story. And then we're going back to the psychosphere. Well,
all right.
This is like, all right, we get heavy trying to be scientific, and now we tell a story. Okay,
yeah, that sounds good.
Here's the story. In June of 2001, 10-year-old Laura Buxton of Staffordshire, England, was attending her grandparents' golden wedding anniversary. Well, Laura Buxton needed a friend. Her grandfather, and you know what grandparents are like with their grandchildren and their granddaughters and their well, I got a couple of those, and they're just, you know how they feel. So this grandfather really felt bad that she had no friend and wanted to help her find a friend. So what did he do? He wanted to find a pen pal to start, and so he wrote Laura Buxton's address on a label with a message that says, "Please return to Laura Buxton," and attached that message to a helium balloon that was part of this anniversary celebration, and sent the balloon off into the sky. Can you imagine the love that went into that balloon that grandfather let go?
Yeah.
Well, I can.
It's impressive. Yeah.
I can. Yes. So, a farmer in Milton, Libourneshire, Wiltshire, in England, about 140 miles away. Get that, 140 miles away. Pulled the very same balloon out of a hedge that separated his pasture from the neighbor's. He noticed the name on the tag that said Laura Buxton. Since this was the name of his neighbor's daughter, what a coincidence, he brought the balloon to this other Laura Buxton. So the first Laura Buxton, who was also 10 years old, then wrote to the second Laura Buxton, who was 10 years old. Because this was such an interesting coincidence, their parents, and this was the key part of this, the parents thought maybe there's something to this. So they brought the girls together so they could meet. When they met, they were wearing similar clothes and discovered that they had three similar pets. including
for
three
heaven's sake.
African black Labrador retrievers.
Oh, incredible.
How remarkable. Yeah.
Yeah, I really.
So
love it. he
found the friend, huh? He did it.
He did, and they did become friends. I mean, there's videos of them in college together on YouTube.
Wow.
I'll
so
be darned.
lifelong.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It goes back
What
to
a
the
successful.
statement. Nothing
Well,
new
go
under
ahead,
the
PK.
sun.
Let's use this. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that just states that there is nothing new under the sun, regardless of how we plan. Other things step in and take its place.
Well, sometimes it's new to me, so that's what the fun is, I think.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But it's startling when we see the combination of things and how they join together.
It is. And the idea there's nothing new under the sun is very important with coincidences, because usually if you have had a weird coincidence or you're having one now, there's someone else having one like it now, or has had one like it, or will have one like it now. So that's an important part of all this coincidence studying thing. So in a way, nothing new under the sun, because somebody else has already done it. So let's use this balloon incident, because it's pretty dramatic and you can visualize it, as a way of understanding, or at least beginning to have a model of how to explain how stuff like this might happen using the idea of the psychosphere. Well, let's look at the diagram that we just kind of drew. The grandfather sends the balloon up into the air, and that's into the psychosphere as well as atmosphere. So the balloon goes up and then travels 140 miles, and then the balloon comes down, and then it's found, and then the two Lauras become in contact. A letter goes from the second one to the first one, and the parents bring the two together. So we've created a kind of a rectangle. The balloon goes up, that's one side, goes across 140 miles, that's another side of it. Then it goes down into the hedge, and then the two girls come together. So you make a kind of a kind of hypothetical rectangle. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the picture that I'm trying to draw, because I'm suggesting, taking an example of a friend of mine was just really upset because her boyfriend and she had broken up, and she wanted to go back together with him, but she didn't. She's afraid to call him. Didn't want to be begging. So she sent up what she called a smoke signal. And I could use your word, sent up a frequency, or I'd say sent up a frequency with certain energy and information in it, which was, I want you to come back. Well, what do you think of the idea of each of us having a higher self? Because that's the next step in this. Do you think each of us have a higher self? I do, but do you?
Sure. Yes.
Oh, definitely.
So what is the higher self to each of you? What is that to you?
Go ahead, PK.
I was going to say it's that feeling of, what's the right words for it? It's more than who I am. It's what I want to be. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Patricia, what's your thought?
Yeah. I agree with you. I think it's that, and I think it's, the higher self is a more all-knowing aspect, has more connection to other realms. And I think of the higher self. So, yeah, different perspectives. It's kind of like the eagle's view.
It's like the eagle what?
The eagle's view. So the eagle sees things from above. Yeah. So something like that is, I think, part of it. Yeah.
Well, just take that eagle's view, the more information, more accessible views, and make that into a balloon in the psychosphere, a balloon-like thing that is somehow connected to your mind. So it's like going out with a balloon, like the grandfather with a balloon if he'd had it on a string, and the balloon went up and is still connected to his mind. That's the metaphor of it. Am I getting the picture across?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I like that. I really like the psychosphere atmosphere. I like that.
Well, good, because that's where pretty much your definitions of the higher self are riding around, because it's a balloon kind of thing that's yours, but it has access to more information because it's up there in the psychosphere picking up stuff and not being, let's say, blinded by our five senses here on Earth. It can get an eagle's view. It's a great way of saying it. That's what I'm suggesting. It not only picks up stuff about what's going on down here, but also picks up energy and information that's floating around in the psychosphere that might be useful.
Yeah, I really am enjoying your explanation. It makes a lot of sense.
Good. Then let's complete the other two sides of the triangle, of the rectangle. So my friend sends up her smoke signal to her higher self, who looks around and puts out a frequency to the higher self of the old boyfriend and makes the connection the way the balloon landed in the hedge for the second Laura. And then, like the farmer giving it to the second Laura, his higher self communicates to him that she wants him back. He gets the message, calls her up, and they're getting married in a couple of weeks.
No kidding. Oh, my goodness.
That's so big.
Wow. Well, that's another happy ending.
Well,
I'm
not sure about that. Happy beginning.
Okay.
Happy beginning.
It's a happy event. They're getting married. Oh, my goodness. That's a great one. But, yeah, I like what you're saying about this, because I'm thinking, well, it may not be just one frequency to another, but it may be that how it travels is you're revealing and your theory, and where it travels. So maybe it's in a field of frequencies that are not so connected to our five senses, as you said, but connected to this other higher force.
Higher self.
Yeah. Very interesting,
yeah.
Dr. Beitman.
Well, thank you.
So is that going to be your next book? It sounds like a good one.
That's
yeah, I was going to say, it's making us think a lot.
This idea is in the second to last chapter of this book of meaningful coincidences.
Right.
Right.
So I try to do it there. I think talking with you, I'm able to sharpen my ability to describe it. But what I just tried to say is in the book. I'm just looking at it. It's on page 136 just to see. And just to read it, I imagine personal energy information balloons representing each human mind floating in the psychosphere. Each balloon is connected to the individual mind that hovers around the skull-encased brain. Our mind is separate from the brain, but it's still related to the brain. like conventional balloons, they can inflate and deflate these balloons of our higher selves, and are buffeted and tossed in the ebbs and flows of the psychosphere, each with an energetic cord connecting to its earthbound twin. So there's more to it than that, but that's in there. So,
yes. That's why I asked you if you have another book coming, because it just feels exactly what you said is true, that there is so much more to that. And in identifying the psychosphere and the mystical, right now mysterious to most of us, inner workings of that psychosphere, and how, I mean, you're talking about a lot about manifestation, but in a whole different realm of understanding coincidence and synchronicity and all of those things that you've been studying for so long. But the psychosphere itself, that has really intrigued me, and that's why I asked you if you're going to do a book just on that, because there's so much to it.
Maybe you've heard of Teilhard de Chardin.
No.
He's a Jesuit priest who coined the term noosphere, which means almost the same thing. N-O-O sphere was mind sphere, but I just didn't like the N-O-O. It sounded too negative, even though it meant mind in, I think, Latin.
Right.
So that idea has been around. And just what you're saying is what needs to happen, is to analyze the makeup of the psychosphere. What is this thing? And I've had enough trouble just being able to talk to somebody, and I've gotten that help from the two of you to see, well, maybe it's not such a crazy idea, the psychosphere thing.
Not at all. I mean, if you think about it, see how I'm interpreting this a little bit differently, because I'm looking at how many people we've had on the show. I mean, PK, my God, how many people we had on the show talking about manifestation. So this is, in some ways, a manifestation that is almost miraculous with these two girls getting together. So how come? How come it happened there with this grandfather, and it didn't happen with others? You know, it's like it doesn't happen all the time. So there's something unique that's going on and that makes it happen. And I think you have hit on something with the psychosphere that is just incredibly important.
Well, thanks. I do too.
Good for you.
But I need this kind of support that you're giving me, and I appreciate it. I really do.
Well, it's our pleasure, because I know PK and I recognize, there are so many discrepancies in the way people talk about and try to instruct other people in manifestation. How do you create these miracles in your life, or these upgrades in your life? It doesn't come easily. And a lot of people tell us, yeah, gee, I really liked the show, and I went home and I tried to do this, X, Y, and Z, and it just fell flat. It doesn't work for them. So why? And again, I think it's because there's a way this travels that it needs to travel at a certain path, at a certain area, in a certain psychosphere. And that's why I really hope you will do more with that, because I think it's an absolute key.
I agree.
Well, it's a visual image, this rectangle, of how telepathy takes place. So that when you talk about manifestation, we begin to see, as you're suggesting, the grandfather helped manifest the friend. Why? How? I like the phrase that at least sometimes what you're looking for is looking for you.
Interesting
That's
thought.
a good one. We like that one. Yep.
And that's what was true in this one, because the second Laura was looking for a friend too.
Sometimes it's right under our nose that we still miss it.
Pardon me?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's right under our nose that we still miss it.
That's so true.
Certainly given us a lot of thought here today.
Oh, my goodness. I've been thinking about this for a long time. Yeah.
I know I will be.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you haven't heard of this mental atmosphere idea before.
I haven't heard of it in this way. I mean, I'm interpreting it in a whole new way, in the way that you are presenting it tonight. So I'm hearing it differently, because I know what you're talking about. This isn't new, the people, but it sounds to me unique, and in the way that you are presenting it. There's something that you understand about this that I don't think anybody else understands about this. And it goes beyond your rectangle.
I agree.
Tell me where it goes beyond the rectangle. I know it does, but tell me where you see it going.
I can't say for certain, because this is my first look at this with you and PK here tonight. But I do see it. It's almost like it's a field. You're identifying a field of frequencies, energies. It's a pathway. It's an enormous pathway. How do you get to that pathway? I mean, I think that you've identified some very important characteristics, like the grandfather that loved his granddaughter so much and really with all his heart wanted to see her have a friend. That was his overriding passion for her. And so somehow he got into that area of how this can be and how it can travel and move, and he made a move. He made it move. But there's something to, oh my God, this is so cool. I am just so excited. Yeah, we are going to be hopefully hearing more from you on this. Yeah.
Well, it's a lot of work just going on podcasts now and talking about the book I'm doing. I've just written. I'm able to do my own podcast once a week, write a post for Psychology Today, and I have had no encouragement about the psychosphere until today. So I very much appreciate that.
Oh, well, good. Well, when the time is right.
Happy to be a part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that balloon's going to come land on you.
And it will be.
And we're going to have you back on the show. Yeah. No, this has been so exciting. I mean, this is really groundbreaking stuff. And I know, like you said, some of this has been talked about before, but you're putting a whole different spin on it that, again, we're hearing tonight, even though we've already talked to you about some of this, but tonight we're hearing it in another new way. This is very important, or we wouldn't be so excited about it.
Definitely.
I can hear that.
Doors are being opened.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we were doing today, is opening the door. That's what you wanted to do.
And we did it.
Definitely.
Oh, my gosh, Dr. Beitman, this is great. Thank you so much. We're already at the end of our time. I can't believe it. This went by in just a blink of an eye. Talk about time, space. We didn't have any of that today. But, yeah, it feels like you just walked onto the show about 5 minutes ago. So thank you again so much for joining us, for joining our audience, and sharing these really remarkable stories and these principles of connection and frequency with us tonight. It's been great. Thank you so much. And again, everybody, please get this book and give it to your friends for Christmas and Hanukkah and everything else. Meaningful Coincidences, How and Why Synchronicity and Serendipity Happen. It is by Bernard Beitman, M.D. Make sure you pick it up. So, Dr. Beitman, thank you again for everything. We're going to be thinking about this.
Oh, for sure.
And you've helped me start thinking about it too, because I've been out here in the wilderness with that idea, and now you've given me some more encouragement to think about it, because I love being up in the air. Oh,
that's great. Well, again, thank you so much, everybody. Next week, we have Thanksgiving. We're going to be taking off Thanksgiving. I'll post another show for you to listen to. We'll be back the week after with another live show. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and we will see you on the Blue Highway. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks for listening. Tune in next week for another radio adventure with Supernatural Girls.